Webstore. What is a web store? A web store is a virtual store on the Internet with many advantages over a traditional storefront. Allow me to explain. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, web stores throughout the world have experienced a 500% increase in total sales, and all this was accomplished in the last 6 years. In 1 year alone, 2007, the total dollar amount of all the web stores' combined sales was well over $2.3 trillion. We should take into account that during the same 6-year period, conventional storefronts saw an increase in their sales of a meager 7%. The top 5 web stores in total sales on the Internet were as follows. We should also mention the additional expenses which will undoubtedly be incurred to construct and decorate a brick-and-mortar storefront. And we should not forget that you will also need to staff the store. And you know what that means. That's right, you guessed it, more expenses, such as training, uniforms, taxes and Social Security, health insurance, as well as a complicated human resource department. And if these expenses aren't enough, you still need to add business insurance, loss due to theft, electricity 12 hours a day, security, parking spaces, maintenance, and cleaning. And most important of all, advertising or publicity in order to attract customers to your store. Who pays for all the added expenses of a storefront? The consumer. Who else? Who will eventually have to pay for them because a basic storefront will need to increase the price of their products in order to recuperate the expenses as well as any profit. Now, let's take a look at several of the advantages that a web store has over a common brick-and-mortar storefront. A web store can be established in as little as a couple of hours, is open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. There are no employees, no rent, and is not limited by space, which would have an effect on the amount of inventory or departments that a storefront could have. With the use of systems, Klix functions in an integral manner and is completely automated from beginning to end. There are only a few things that a web store has in common with a basic brick-and-mortar storefront. One is the need to advertise, so customers will become familiar with your products at a competitive price, as well as where to purchase them. Imagine every computer throughout the world converting into one of your store locations. This is the potential of a web store. Considering the fact a web store will not have these expenses, this will allow you to sell at a lower price and the added convenience for the customer of having their products shipped directly to their front door using the already established shippers of goods such as UPS, FedEx, or DHL. Over the last several years, we have witnessed the destruction of the small mom-and-pop specialty stores by the much larger giants, which offer a wider variety of products, and due to their buying power, they were able to sell at a lower price than the specialty stores. With the web store, you will have the opportunity to sell as much as the giant stores who also have web stores. The only differentiating factors from your web store to theirs will be advertising or publicity to attract customers to your web store, the appropriate variety of products, and availability of the products for immediate delivery, and of course, a competitive price. If you can meet these 4 objectives, the success of your virtual store is assured, and you will easily compete on the same playing field as the giant stores with the same basic investment. The concept behind a web store is basically the same as a brick-and-mortar storefront, which is divided into 2 sections. First, we have the storefront, which is seen by the customer. The second is the back office, which is rarely seen by a customer. Obviously, at a web store, a customer cannot see or touch the item they are thinking of purchasing. So it is necessary for a web store to provide a description of the product, such as the materials used, intended use of product, and so on. And of course, provide photos from various viewpoints, and when possible, photos showing the item in use so as to build the customer's confidence in the product, which will lead them to make the purchase. As in a normal storefront, the items the customer has selected will be kept in a virtual shopping cart. And when the customer is ready to pay, just as they would in a storefront, they will then go to checkout to pay for the items. You will need to use a system like Klix to receive the purchase order so that the warehouse, regardless of where they are located, can ship the goods to the customer, as well as adjust your inventory, print the bill, charge a credit card for the purchase, and deposit the money into the appropriate bank account. All this will assure that your web store will grow and be as successful as the retail giants.